Well, voila. Sometimes you just have to move away from a certain area. I don't know how this thing works all, pardon me, wiping my mouth. I don't know how this situation with YouTube and all these connections work, but well, I was definitely a place where I could do everything else but that. Okay, I apologize for those 3 attempted uploads of this video, and as I told everybody, I went to Periscope, and I did one there, and it's called the same thing, and you can also see it on Twitter on my timeline. Okay, that's at Royston Potter. So let me get right into it so I don't waste your time. Hello everyone as you come in, um, and I'll just touch on some of the points that I did. I won't make it as detailed as I did on the Periscope now. No need to do that. Again, hello everyone. Uh, I am Roy Potter, and this is the impromptu version of the Potter Expositor. And the name of this, of course, is Cyrus or Herod. And before I get on that, I wanted to touch on a few things that I talked about on Periscope. And the first being that it's very good information, it's very good news that Greg Craig, Obama's White House attorney, has been indicted for his situation with Ukraine, lying to the FBI or the Congress or whoever it was. Somebody in the Obama administration finally getting tagged for something. But of course, that's just the beginning, and I don't know how much further down that line it will go. I think a lot of people have done a lot of good coverage on this Assange thing today, pro and con. I, of course, am not happy at all with the fact that we have gone after Assange this way. There are people that say, well, he could cooperate better now, he can tell the whole story and all that. Well, I'm not so sure that that's the case. What I see is, and this is basically the point of this video, and if you want to see more of the detail, maybe you can go to Periscope. I got to be careful when I'm talking out in public, people get upset. But anyway, we have a loyalty problem. It's expected to go one way, and it's hardly ever, if ever, returned. And a lot of people sacrificed a lot of things to try to get Trump into the White House. A lot of sacrifices. So I have a little story I want to tell you. It's a little story comparing Cyrus, the Persian king, with Herod, the Jewish king, at the time that Christ was born. Right around that time. Cyrus of Persia, of course, what he did was he freed the Jews from their Babylonian captivity, sent them back to Judea to Palestine, where they could build a temple and worship according to their own desires, live on the land, take possession of it, take possession of their inheritances, that kind of thing. So Cyrus was, as most of you might know, has been, or Trump, I should say, has been compared to Cyrus, both by Israelis. His face with Cyrus is on an Israeli coin. Trey Smith has talked about him being the Cyrus right now, and there have been a lot of other of those types of people that have talked about that, including myself, because I do see some of those things. But I also see some other things. So I'm going to tell you this story, and it's the one I told on Periscope. King Herod, there were basically 3 different Herods. There was Herod the Small, I think they called him something like that. I can't remember the exact name. That was the father of Herod the Great. And then there was Herod Antipas, who was the son of Herod the Great. We're going to talk about the middle one, Herod the Great, who basically was the king at the time of the slaying of the infants and the birth of Christ and all that. Well, the Herods were Edomite Arabs. They were not Jews. And I've talked about this many, many times. They were put into power by the Romans to subjugate the Jews. And again, I've talked about this many, many times. I don't want to really stay there at this point, but the rest of the story is important. Herod was very concerned about loyalty. He wanted to make sure that his people gave him loyalty, but it didn't always go back the other way. And if he suspected that somebody wasn't loyal to him, he killed them, including his strongest supporters, the members of his own family. He had his wife Mariamne, who was a Maccabean princess, strangled in the middle of the court while everybody watched the king's court. He killed his own sons. When he did those things, of course, Caesar let him have full reign in Palestine and Judea, there in Jerusalem. He let him have full reign. But Caesar was no fool, and we're talking about Augustus Caesar, okay? Augustus Caesar, the one that called for the tax, okay? That one, the one that basically beat Mark Antony in the wars, the Roman wars. Well, when Caesar heard about Herod doing all of this, killing those that were his closest loyalists, this is what Augustus Caesar said about Herod. He said, "It looks like it's better to be Herod's pig than to be Herod's son." Doesn't that ring along? I know a lot of people are going to be upset, but you know me. I'm going to call it like I see it. My knowledge of history and politics is fairly dang good, and of course of principle and spiritual things. And there's a problem here. There's a real problem. I look at General Flynn, abandoned. Manafort, abandoned. Stone, abandoned. Alex Jones, abandoned. All of the supporters that were out there pushing, and even today, they get beaten up, bike blocked, harassed, censored. And then the promises that are made to them are hardly ever fulfilled. And I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. The latest being this situation on the border. We're all concerned supposedly about human trafficking, especially POTUS. And now he's just going to hang back? Where's the military? Why is he still in Afghanistan? Why has he reneged on almost all the major promises of his campaign to his supporters? And most importantly, and Mike Cernovich, I give him the credit for this one, where are all the supporters that were with him during the campaign? Didn't they get all the jobs in the White House, or a good number of them in the administration? No, he didn't. Nobody got any of them. He abandoned all of his supporters for the deep staters and the neocons. I call it like I see it. I'm surprised I could get this up tonight. A lot of you people aren't going to like this. If you're here to be stroked and to try to get sugar-coated information, as I told you, you're not going to get it. I saw a comment on, I think it was the last one, where I said to go to Periscope. I saw a comment on there where a guy said, "Yeah, I went there and I didn't like what I saw or heard, so I'm not going back." Hey, nobody's got a ball and chain on you. Nobody's forcing you to be here. I don't care what you think. I care what God thinks about me and my promises to Him, and to all of you to try to help you get free. Trump's got to be loyal, and he's not. It's like I had a video here a while back where I called this, "Is Trump the Grand Stiffer?" Go back and look at it. Here we go again. Assange was a friend of his. Assange helped him get in there. Assange brought out the stuff that was on Hillary Clinton and all those problems. Podesta, all that. Now there might be a grand plan to, get Assange here and then get him to testify or whatever. That may be. No, but thank you very much. But what are we more concerned about, optics or the truth? Are we concerned about loyalty? Are we concerned about standing up and being a man? Assange stood up and was a man. I'm having problems with Trump. Lots of problems. He doesn't know anything about the WikiLeaks situation. Really? Really? Okay, well that's basically what I said earlier. I think I covered a couple of other things on the Periscope if you want to go look. But again, I'm calling him out. I'm tired of this. I listened to Will Chamberlain, who is an attorney. He's there in D.C. He's on Twitter and Periscope. Maybe some of you know who he is. Will Chamberlain went over this and had the same problems with this whole thing as I did. And this is what he said. Will Chamberlain said, and I've said this before, who's in control in the White House? Who's the president? Who's the commander in chief? He has no control over his branch. And I don't want to hear anymore that it's because he's not getting cooperation. He caused that, and he's continuing to cause it. His loyalty only goes one way, and that's back to him. He does not have control of his Department of Justice, period. Even with Barr in there, apparently. I hope Barr does the right thing. I hope he had an epiphany and he knows that this thing's got to get turned around now. But the best estimate of future action is past performance. Maybe it's the other way around. The best evidence of performance is past action. You get the point. I forget exactly how that goes. Barr did a great job in front of the committees this week. But there's no excuse to wait another 30, 60, 90 days. They could go after Assange with a little bit of information they had on that. Look at the mountains of information they have on the deep state and the IC, from Clinton and Obama on down. Trump, you're turning your back on those who literally bled and sweated for you and worked their asses off. And apparently a few of them have died. Like all those people in Las Vegas. You so easily forget. I told you not to be Saul. And I'm telling you not to be Herod. But at this point, you're more like Herod and Saul than you are like Cyrus or David. I'm out, folks. Gotta go. Thanks. I hope you have a good night.